Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a sci-fi novel from 1981 that is so spot on, it feels like it was written for our world right now. It's eerily prophetic. Let's get into why.
So let me just start with a question. Ever look around at, all the weirdness, the disinformation, the broken systems, and just get this feeling that the world is being run by some kind of hidden, corrupting force? Well, if you have, you're not alone. Turns out the legendary sci-fi author Philip K. Dick was wrestling with that exact same feeling more than 40 years ago, and he channeled it into his novel, The Divine Invasion. It's almost like he wrote a myth to explain our modern anxieties before they even happened.
So, how does he frame this feeling we all have? He starts with a premise that is truly mind-bending. What if God was real, but he was forced into exile? The novel just throws you right into this wild idea. God, who goes by the name Yah, was basically defeated and kicked off of Earth way, way back in AD 74, right after the fall of Masada. And now he's just living in exile in some distant star system, totally hidden from humanity.
So if God's gone, who's running the show? This is where you get the central conflict. On one side, you have Yah, the true God, stuck in the shadows, trying to work through these quiet, hidden channels. And on the other side, you have Belial. This is an adversarial power that has taken complete control of Earth. But Belial isn't some guy with a pitchfork, right? It's described as a systemic, corrupting influence, a force that creates illusion and deception, often through things like soulless bureaucracy and institutions. Sound familiar? But here's the thing. Yah hasn't just given up. He's putting together a kind of cosmic rescue team to stage a divine invasion and take Earth back. And the members of this team, well, they are not who you'd expect. Yeah, this is not your typical superhero squad. These characters are more like spiritual archetypes. You've got Emmanuel, or Manny, who is literally God returning to Earth as a helpless little kid. Then there's Urbasher, just an ordinary guy who gets roped into this cosmic mission. He's guided by Xena, this mysterious woman who represents divine wisdom. And watching over the whole crazy plan is the prophet Elias Tate, who's just trying to make sure it doesn't all go sideways. And what's their mission? It sounds simple, but it's basically impossible. They have to sneak God back onto a planet that is not only controlled by his enemy, but is completely, utterly forgotten that he ever even existed. Now, this is where the novel goes from just a cool sci-fi plot to a really profound philosophical trip. Because it's not really about the invasion. It's about waking up from the lie the Belial has spun around everyone. The whole book is really built on this ancient philosophical idea called Gnosticism. The core belief here is that our material world is kind of like a prison built by a lesser corrupt power, in this case, Belial. But, and this is the whole point, a divine spark from the true God, from Yah, is trapped inside each and every one of us, just waiting for us to wake it up. And Dick gives us this brilliant metaphor for this whole Gnostic idea. Manny, the divine child, is born with brain damage. And because of that, he has amnesia. He has no memory of who he really is. Think about that. He is God, but he's forgotten. And that's us. That's the human condition, according to the book. We all have this divine spark, but we're living with a kind of spiritual amnesia, completely clueless about our true identity. So you see, the real battle in this book isn't fought with lasers or spaceships. It's an internal war. It's a struggle to remember who you really are, to make choices that are based on truth instead of deception, and to, learn how to see reality for what it is, beyond the illusion that Bial has built. So why does a 40-year-old sci-fi book about Gnosticism and exiled gods matter to us right now? Well, because it's everything. The book is really an invitation for each one of us to start our own divine invasion, especially when the world feels like it's being run by its own modern versions of Belial. So what can we actually take away from this? The number one message is that even when things seem hopeless, hope isn't gone. It's just hidden. The book argues that your personal choices, to seek the truth, to act with kindness, those choices actually have cosmic weight. It's a call to rediscover that divine part of ourselves, to use wisdom to see past the surface of things. And maybe the most powerful idea, it suggests that suffering isn't meaningless. It can actually be the very thing that wakes us up. And ultimately, the book leaves us with this powerful and, prophetic message of hope. It basically says that absolute control by these big, corrupt systems, it just can't last. It's unsustainable because truth, identity, memory, love, wisdom, all the good stuff, it will always, always find a way to break through, usually in ways we never see coming.
And that leaves us with one last big question to chew on. In a world that so often feels dominated by loud, deceptive, corrupting forces, this book asks us to look for the quiet, hidden good. It challenges us to think, how can we align ourselves with that good? How can we start to remember our own forgotten identity and take part in our own small, personal, divine invasion?